In this tutorial, I want to show you how to export out of Lightroom. Once you've made changes to a photo, or even if it's just a raw file and then you need to get it into a JPEG format so you can post it up on social media or email it to somebody or whatever, you're going to need to export. So you have to export from the library module. So you just click on library and then you have an option over here called export. So I can select all of the images that I wanted to export. If there were multiple images, I could select multiple images, and then I click on the export button. Then I have several options available to me. So I can export to email, I can export to a CD or DVD, although our computers don't have a CD, DVD built in, but or a hard drive, which is usually what we're going to do. Now you could create a preset, which I would suggest creating a preset once you find something that you really like. But I usually choose specific folder, and then I'll choose that folder. So I'm going to say, okay, this is where I want it to go. And this is just what I do, but I choose the pictures folder. I create a new folder that I call exported, so that I know that all of my pictures are going to go in there. Then if I wanted to create a new subfolder, like if these were going to be all of my whatever type of photos, if these are, let's say these are my best from shooting a school event, so like an assembly, then I can check this box and say homecoming assembly, so that they're all in that same folder. That can be helpful as well. But you do need to make sure that you're exporting somewhere, and usually I say specific folder and I put it into an exported folder so I know that it's separate from my other ones. File naming. Okay, oftentimes I will rename, so I'll go to a custom name sequence because I don't usually do that when I'm shooting, and so img underscore whatever doesn't make as much sense to me. So again, if this was homecoming assembly, then I might do something like that, and it's going to go -1, -2, -3, etc. Okay, so there are other options. You can just keep it the file name, and it will just be called whatever it's supposed to be called. Or there are other options available as well. I usually just do custom name sequence. File settings. This is really important because the default is usually down like 65, I think, on the quality. I usually want to bump this up to like 80, 85, 90, somewhere in there. I want a little bit higher quality if I'm going to a JPEG. Okay? And then here's the next thing that I feel like is really important, is the image size. So usually when I get a file inside of Lightroom, it's really, really big. I mean, we're talking 4,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels, or maybe even larger, 5,000 by 4,000 or something like that. Well, if I'm going to go put that online, that's really big, and it doesn't need to be that big. And so oftentimes, depending on what I'm going to do with it, I mean, that's what you have to think about. What am I going to do with this image? A lot of times I just choose the long edge, and I say, I don't want the long edge to be any more than 1,200 pixels or 1,000 pixels. And the long edge is the larger size. So you can go up to 1,500 or 1,800, or you don't have to resize it at all. You can just uncheck it. I just do this because if I'm going to post it up online, I don't want it to be quite as big as the original photo. And then I usually leave everything else just the same. You also could just say inches or centimeters, but I just usually leave it in pixels, and that's fine. There are other options. You could say you want to sharpen it. There's metadata. You can add a watermark if you've created that, and we'll probably talk about that at another point. But so if you wanted to add like your little logo on the bottom or something like that, so that it has some sort of watermark or copyright symbol, then you can add a watermark to it. And then there's also other things you can do. I usually just say do nothing on the after export. And if once you've got something that you really like, you can actually just hit the add button, and we can just say normal export or something like that, and it's now going to be in my presets. So I can say I can choose any of these other presets, but then I can just go to my normal export, and everything is set up exactly how I want it to. All I would have to do is change this file name, and if I wanted to put it in a subfolder. And then I go ahead and hit the export button, And you'll notice up here, it's going to say, okay, it's processing homecoming assembly -1 and -2, which are these two photos, which aren't really, they don't have anything to do with it. These are from another, the beginning photography class. And so then if I come to my, let's see, pictures folder, exported, and there they are, my two pictures that are now a little bit smaller. You'll notice 1200 by 947 and 1200 by 676. So that might be too small now, and so you might have to make adjustments there. But anyways, that is how you export out of Lightroom to a file format that you can actually use if you're dealing with raw images.